abundant artists. It's Jennifer Joy, and I'm just checking on the status of this. Oh boy, oh boy. So today's talk is about consistency, the three keys to consistency. And today, very interestingly, if you try to join me on the other announced scheduled event, I'm doing that in an effort to be more consistent. Most Tuesdays I am here at around 11 a.m. Central, that's my time zone. I'm here doing a Tuesday training. Yet for me, it's been a real challenge to actually say, okay, here's when this is happening. It's happening at this time every week. That consistency feels scary to me. And what I know for you, what I'm seeing as people are coming into the group is that I'm not the only one who struggles with consistency. Now, the good news is that I am a master coach. If you don't know me, I am a master life coach and I focus on creatives. And I'm also a scientific hand analyst with a focus on marketing and branding. So basically, what I do is I help creatives to get out of their own way and build their business so that they can make money with their creative work, and really, it's about living your life purpose. So, one of the keys to this is consistency. Anytime you are building something, consistency is absolutely vital. And like I said, I've seen some of your comments in the group as you're coming into the group, and I understand that you are struggling with consistency. So, today we are going to talk about the three keys to consistency. But before we get into that, I just want to take one moment to thank everyone who has been with me for the Abundant Artist Lab. Hi, Mary. Hello. You found me over here. You found me. So I'd like to thank everyone who's joined me on the Abundant Artist Lab. It has been phenomenal. We started last week, Tuesday, at this time slot because it was something that's familiar to me. And we started on Tuesday. We went all the way through Friday, and then we had our final session yesterday. So if you haven't joined us, or if you caught some of it, but you haven't caught all of it, I wanted to remind you that the videos are in this Facebook group in the units until tomorrow morning. They come down tomorrow morning. So you have today to catch up. Also, want to remind you that the Abundant Artist Mastermind, the cart closes tonight at midnight Pacific. So let's go on into the three keys of consistency. And Mary, you might notice this is slightly different. I'm trying to use Facebook's platform instead of the one that I've been using for the lab. And it sort of did me wrong. It sort of did me wrong, but I'll keep trying. I'll keep trying. Um, so the three keys to consistency. Now, I also, not only do I work with creatives, but I also work with coaches, other life coaches. And the organization that trained me to be a master coach, master facilitator, master mentor is the Fearless Living Institute. And I help those coaches to also grow their business when they move out of their coaching training. And one of the things we tell them also is consistency, consistency, consistency. And this actually also came up with one of our lab members who contacted me afterward, and she was talking about consistency. So, number one, the number one thing you want to do when it comes to consistency is check in with yourself. And what I mean by that is checking in with your capacity. I love that word capacity. So for me, I have struggled with periods of depression through my 30s and my 40s. My last one, thankfully, was in 2017, my last period. And I've had some chronic health issues. So I know that sometimes my capacity is diminished. And when my capacity is diminished, I need to be really careful that I'm not setting my expectations too high. So when I am in a depression mode, what happens to me is that my mind goes blank. It's absolutely blank. It is really hard to think at all. And the other thing that happens is I get extremely fatigued. I get extremely tired. So when I'm in those phases, it's really important for me to check in on my capacity. What can I realistically do toward my business? What can I realistically do in my creativity? So, number one, check in with your capacity. And I hear from you too. I know many of you struggle with mental health issues as well. It's very common for creatives, it's part of the creative brain. Um, I know that many of you have chronic health conditions too. So, it's all about number one, to create consistency, check in with your capacity so that you know what you can do. so that you know what you can do and you can be realistic about it and not expect yourself to do too much. So that's number one. And that sort of ties in with number two. Now, this is something we talked about, not specifically in about capacity in the lab, but this is one of my favorite tools, Stretch Risk Die. And we even have Stretch Yourself Saturdays in this group around that. So I'm going to show it here. Stretch Risk Die model. So that you can see it looks like a bullseye. You can see it looks like a bullseye. And that middle zone is your comfort zone. I also like to call it your known zone, your known zone. And what this means is it's your status quo right now. It's what you know, it's what you do, it's your day-to-day life. All right. So if you are looking at growing your business, no matter what your capacity, you need to move out of that comfort known zone. In order to grow your business or change or grow something in your life, you need to take steps that are new. So it's that expansion that's happening. It's that expansion. So let me go through the other parts of this model. The first ring around it is called the stretch zone. And let me just say, this is a Fearless Living Institute model that I use. It's not mine. I do a lot of creative content of my own, but this one actually comes from the Fearless Living Institute. So the stretch zone, that first ring beyond your comfort zone, is just a little bit from your comfort zone. It's something you know you can do, but you just haven't done it. It's something you know you can do, but you just haven't done it. The next zone in the bullseye, the next circle is the risk zone. So it's a little farther from your comfort zone. And when you, it's a thought, a feeling, an action, like I said, farther from your comfort zone. And the thing is with the risk zone is that you actually do risk failure or rejection. And I know those are two big creative fears. Sorry, I have hair in my face. Those are two big creative fears that hold people back, the fear of being rejected or the fear of failure. And so when we move beyond our comfort zone even farther, those risks are real. It really could happen. And so what happens is that we actually have this physiological reaction. So what happens in our body is we start to have those fight, flight, or freeze symptoms. And they might be minor, but we start to have that, oh my gosh, the flutters in my stomach, or oh wow, my throat feels really tight as I move into this risk zone, or my heart is beating really fast as I move into the risk zone. And then the final section, that final ring in the bullseye, is the die zone. And the die zone is so far from your comfort zone that you don't even want to think of doing it, don't contemplate it, don't want to do it. No way. It's not for you. You're like, no way, I can't do it. And this is because it's so far from the comfort zone that your physical reactions are heightened even more. So we're getting into panic area when we're in the die zone. So, what does this have to do with consistency? Well, what it has to do is when you are looking to be consistent, you want to make sure you aren't stretching too far outside of your comfort zone. Consistency really is in the stretch zone by doing those things that you know you can do, but you just haven't done it yet. Taking those small steps and stretching, especially if you have reduced capacity. If you are in some way having reduced capacity, you want to make sure to be in the stretch zone. If your capacity is pretty good, you can start venturing maybe into the risk zone because to a certain extent, the bigger risk, the bigger reward. Yet we want to really, for consistency's sake, focus on what's close to our comfort zone. Now, if I have lowered capacity, that doesn't mean I'm going to be like, oh, I need to take a risk every single or a stretch every single day. I need to take one every day to grow my business. Depending on where you are, it might be, you know what, I'm going to take two stretches this week. Two stretches when I'm feeling a little, when I'm feeling at my best capacity wise. So that's why it's important to check in with your capacity because you want to determine whether you can take a stretch, whether you can move into the risk zone, and whether it's like one stretch a day or it's one stretch a week or one stretch a month. It doesn't matter. Now, what I want to say, and some of you might be thinking this already, is that you might be going, yeah, but taking a stretch, that's not really good enough. That's like doing the minimum possible requirement, right? And I want to let you know that that is your fear talking to you. Your fears, your creative fears want to keep you in this green zone, in your known comfort zone, the known zone, the status quo. So your fear mentally is going to ramp up, and it's going to use your body and those fear responses, those physical, biological responses, they're going to ramp up as you move farther from it and going to try to be keeping you in that comfort zone. So, one thing that's really important to do is to try to keep fear from winning, to try to win this mental game, is to acknowledge and celebrate every time you move out of your comfort zone. So even though your voice in your head might be telling you taking one stretch a week, that's pitiful, that's pathetic. Pathetic's a big word for my fear. Um, you, as a conscious creative, want to say no. Every step out of my comfort zone is one to celebrate. So I'm acknowledging myself for taking that stretch once a week, once a day, whatever it is. I'm acknowledging myself. I'm celebrating that. I'm I know that these stretches are the key to consistency, and the more I do them, the more they move into the comfort zone and the more you expand and your business expands. So, that's number 2. Number 1, check in with your capacity. Number 2, shoot for the stretch zone and always celebrate and acknowledge yourself for taking those stretches. Don't let fear win, saying minimizing them. You acknowledge them as a conscious creative. And number 3, the number 3 key is to have support and accountability. Support and accountability. So for me, to give an example of this situation today, part of my accountability now, I've been practicing Tuesdays. I've done more than 150 videos in this group, most of them on Tuesdays. And so the key for me to being even more consistent is scheduling those events, scheduling those events. So that is going to help me with my accountability, my accountability. Now, what else does support and accountability look like? Support and accountability might look like giving yourself a deadline if that works for you. Some people that works for. Some it might be doing something like I'm doing here, where I've actually scheduled something. That's a deadline. It might be hooking up with an accountability partner. I've worked with an accountability partner for the past 6 years, and we meet usually twice a month, unless one of us is traveling or something. We usually meet twice a month to check in on our accountability toward whatever we deemed. And then another way to get that support and that accountability to have consistency in your creative business is to work with a coach or mentor. And that's why I've opened up my Abundant Artist Mastermind. And if you are interested in that, I'm not going to go into details here. If you're interested in learning more about the Abundant Artist Mastermind, you go to abundantartistacademy.com/mastermind. And that is all one word, of course. So abundantartistacademy.com mastermind if you want to see about getting more support and accountability to keep you consistent so that your business can grow. And I have to tell you, I remember when I owned my dance studio and we would open up a new class, say. We would open up a new preschool class. The others would be full. We'd open up a new one. And it would feel so disheartening to walk into that studio and see one or two little kids in that in that studio. And it would feel like if I let my fear win, it would feel like a failure. It would feel like a failure. But what I learned, even back then, was that it was about being consistent. It was about showing up to that class every week. And before I knew it, someone called and needed a new class, and then someone else. And then the next time registration rolled around, maybe that class was up to 5 or 6. So it was about showing up and being consistent, showing up and being consistent. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments. I love to answer your questions and provide you with all the support that I can here in this group. Like I said, if you want even more support, check out the Abundant Artist Mastermind at abundantartistacademy.com/mastermind. And look for me next week, next Tuesday here. Hopefully I'll get the Facebook thing going and it won't give me the pinwheel of death. But look for me here next Tuesday for our training, my Tuesday trainings for you to help you really grow your confidence, grow your business, grow your marketing, grow your branding, get out of your own way so that you can really feel satisfied, so satisfied, and make more money with your business. Bye-bye, everyone. Until next time. Bye.